Have you ever wondered how a single man could change the course of a nation's history so dramatically? Imagine France at the close of the 18th century, a nation in turmoil. The French Revolution had toppled the monarchy, ending centuries of royal rule. But this was not a peaceful transition. The streets of Paris were awash with blood as the guillotine claimed the lives of those deemed enemies of the revolution. The Reign of Terror had begun, and with it came a period of intense paranoia, violence, and political instability. As the dust settled, the nation was left in a state of uncertainty. The old order had been dismantled, but what was to replace it? France found itself in a power vacuum with various factions vying for control. It was a time of chaos but also a time of opportunity, a moment ripe for the emergence of a new leader. Enter Napoleon Bonaparte, a man of humble origins born on the island of Corsica in 1769. His family was of minor Italian nobility that had settled in Corsica. Young Napoleon was sent to France for education at the age of 9, where he developed a strong affinity for the French nation, even though he was often teased by his peers for his Corsican accent and lower social standing. However, these challenges did not deter him. Instead, they fueled his ambition. He was not just a dreamer, but a doer. He joined the French army at the young age of 16, rising through the ranks with an unwavering focus and determination. Napoleon was not merely a military man, though. He was also a student of history, a lover of literature, and a believer in the Enlightenment ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. His diverse interests and broad knowledge base would serve him well as he navigated the intricate web of French politics. Thus, the stage was set for a man of ambition to seize power, and Napoleon Bonaparte was that man. Napoleon's ascent to power was nothing short of meteoric. Born into a modest Corsican family, his journey to the pinnacle of French power was fueled by a potent mixture of military genius, political savvy, and an unyielding drive to reform. His military conquests were legendary. From the snowy plains of Russia to the sun-drenched sands of Egypt, Napoleon's tactical genius and indomitable spirit led his armies to numerous victories. His use of artillery and infantry, his strategic brilliance, and his ability to inspire his troops made him a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. These victories not only expanded French territories but also served to bolster his popularity back home. But Napoleon's rise was not solely due to his military prowess. He was also a shrewd political operator. He knew how to navigate the turbulent waters of French politics, winning the support of key factions and charming the masses with his charisma and promises of a better France. His political acumen was evident when he staged a successful coup d'état in 1899, effectively making him the first consul of France. On the heels of his political and military successes, Napoleon set his sights on establishing the French Empire. In 1804, he crowned himself emperor, a move that symbolized his absolute power. But Napoleon was not content with merely holding the title. He sought to reform France and laid the groundwork for what would become known as the Napoleonic Code, a set of laws that continue to influence civil law jurisdictions worldwide. His reforms touched on various aspects of French society, from education to the legal system, from the economy to the military. Each reform was designed to strengthen his control over France and consolidate the French Empire. With a firm grip on power, Napoleon was ready to expand his empire and influence across Europe. At its peak, the French Empire was a force to be reckoned with. This was an era when the sun never set on French territories, a testament to Napoleon Bonaparte's unparalleled strategic brilliance and military prowess. Under Napoleon's rule, the French Empire expanded its territories and influence like never before. From the shores of the Atlantic to the banks of the Danube, from the frozen lands of Russia to the scorching deserts of Egypt, the French tricolor fluttered proudly. Napoleon's France was not just a country, it was the heart of a vast empire that breathed with the pulse of 1,000,000 hearts united under one banner. Napoleon's military campaigns are legendary, with each victory adding a new feather to the cap of the French Empire. The Battle of Austerlitz, often referred to as the Battle of the Three Emperors, is one such example where Napoleon's strategic brilliance shone brightly. With an army significantly smaller than his opponents, Napoleon still managed to outmaneuver and defeat the combined forces of Austria and Russia, leading to one of the most decisive victories in military history. Then, there was the Battle of Jena-Auerstedt, where Napoleon's Grande Armée defeated the Prussian army, proving once again that his military genius was second to none. This victory further solidified France's dominance in Europe and marked the zenith of the French Empire's power. But it wasn't just about territorial conquests. Napoleon's reign was also defined by significant societal and legal reforms. The Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive set of civil laws, was established, influencing many legal systems around the world even today. Napoleon was a master tactician, a reformer, and a visionary leader who took the French Empire to unparalleled heights. His influence stretched far beyond the battlefield, seeping into the very fabric of society, shaping the course of history. However, as history has shown us, the higher they rise, the harder they fall. And fall, the French Empire did. But that's a tale for another scene. For now, let's bask in the glory of the French Empire at its zenith, under the rule of the indomitable Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon's downfall was as dramatic as his rise. In 1812, Napoleon, at the zenith of his power, decided to invade Russia. This marked the beginning of a series of missteps and defeats that would lead to his eventual downfall. The Russian campaign was disastrous. The Russian strategy of scorched earth, combined with the brutal winter, decimated Napoleon's grand army. From an army of nearly 500,000, only a few tens of thousands managed to retreat back to France. Following this catastrophic loss, the tide of power began to turn against Napoleon. His enemies, sensing weakness, formed a coalition and launched a series of attacks. Napoleon, with a hastily assembled army, fought valiantly but was eventually defeated. In April 1814, he was forced to abdicate the throne and was exiled to the island of Elba. However, the indomitable spirit of Napoleon wasn't easily quashed. In 1815, he escaped from Elba and returned to France, beginning a period known as the 100 Days. His return to power, however, was short-lived. The Battle of Waterloo marked the final defeat of Napoleon. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered, Napoleon's army was crushed by the combined forces of the British and Prussians. Following Waterloo, Napoleon was exiled again, this time to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. Here, far from the grandeur and power he once wielded, Napoleon lived out the rest of his days. There were no more armies to command, no more battles to win, and no more empires to rule. The man who had once held the fate of Europe in his hands spent his final years in solitude, thousands of miles away from his homeland. In the end, Napoleon's ambition exceeded his grasp, leading to his downfall and the end of the French Empire. Despite his fall, Napoleon's impact on France and the world still echoes today. His reign may have been marked by tumultuous battles and political maneuvering, but it was also a period of profound change and progress. Let's take, for instance, the Napoleonic Code. This civil law code, introduced in 1804, was a radical shift from the feudal laws of old. It upheld principles of equality, meritocracy, and secularism, laying the groundwork for modern legal systems, not just in France but also throughout Europe and beyond. The Napoleonic Code was one of the most significant contributions to civil law in history, and its influence remains palpable today. But Napoleon didn't just leave a mark on the legal world. He also played a crucial role in sparking a sense of nationalism across Europe. His conquests, while often seen as acts of aggression, inadvertently unified the people within these territories. They began to identify more strongly with their nation, setting the stage for the rise of national states in the 19th century. Moreover, Napoleon's reign significantly altered the balance of power in Europe. The French Empire, under his rule, was a formidable force that threatened the established order. The other European powers had to band together to counter this threat. This led to a reshuffling of alliances and a shift in power dynamics, setting the stage for the geopolitical landscape we know today. In essence, Napoleon was a catalyst for change, both in France and across Europe. His reforms modernized the French state and society, his conquests stirred a sense of nationalism, and his ambition upset the balance of power. His influence extended far beyond his reign, shaping the world in ways that are still evident today. So, while the French Empire under Napoleon was short-lived, its impact was anything but, forever changing the course of history.